Howdy, it's tubalcain again, and this is episode number 17 of my This and That series. But before I get to new things and viewer appreciation items and so on, let me just review a few things in previous videos. And again, I came under fire on a recent video where I talked about calibrating this Fowler micrometer, and I was literally splitting the line, and I did a little machining on that, and go back and take a look at that. And many of you thought that this was a waste of time. It is not a real problem, but it also depends on the position here of your eye or the camera as to whether or not you can see that line. But let me show you a couple other micrometers here, and that's really important to me, but I guess it isn't to some people. Here's another Fowler micrometer, and this is a 1-incher also that reads in tenths of a thousandths. But, you know, just tell me that this line is not covered by, what, 6 or 7 thousandths. And that's what I was correcting on that other blue Fowler. So, to me, it's a very real problem. Let me show you something else. Now here's a beautiful Starrett 2-inch micrometer, and that pretty much splits the line. I mean, it's usable, but I prefer to be able to see the line. And if you think this isn't important, why is it that in the 70s, or actually the 60s, that Brown and Sharp came up with the slant line micrometer, which basically did away with the problem that I'm talking about. So as I zero this out, you can see that even if the line was covered a little bit, that slant leads you to the line. I don't think this ever gained great popularity, but I thought it was a tremendous idea. Alright, now that I've beaten that to death, on with something else. Some of you took my video on Crescent Wrenches way too seriously, and it was a fun video. It was meant to be fun. It wasn't scientific at all. I realized that, and I was surprised at the anger that I received toward, first of all, damaging tools, and then the other people that absolutely hate adjustable wrenches. And I understand that you're never going to use one as a mechanic when you're working on Toyotas and Lexuses and cars like that. You wouldn't even own one. But for the handyman or the man that works with old stuff, there's just hundreds of uses for Crescent wrenches, and I don't fight it. And I own 100 of them, so there must be hundreds of uses. But go back and watch that video if you want. There were a lot of views on it, and a lot of people did like it, but again, some didn't. And finally, to finish up this old stuff, remember my dynamo video? And there was a little flickering of the LEDs, and to me it wasn't a big deal because this project is done, but many people said put some capacitors on there. Well, I bought 100 capacitors. They came on a slow boat from China, and there's all different values in here, and I don't have one hooked up right now, but it had absolutely no effect on it, on the flickering. So then I put a large one on. This is from a Ford. Again, no effect, so I'm going to lay that to rest. Unless someone can give me the exact value of capacitor and microfarads and voltages and all of that might be necessary, I really don't want to fiddle with it anymore. Alright, let's get on to the new stuff. As you know, I'm a man that absolutely loathes bump type knurlers because they don't work. It's that simple. They don't work. Consistently anyway. Oh, I know I'll get an argument on that. I am a big proponent and lover of pinch type knurlers, and these are made, of course, for screw machines, but you've seen me use these, and I bought this for my buddies up in Leland at the screw machine shop, and I liked this so much I went back up there to see them, and I had a good visit with them. and I bought the next size larger so that I can do larger diameter knurls if and when necessary. And while I was there, I was in a buying mood. So you've seen my geometric threader, and I really only had one set of chasers, and that's what's in here now, is 5/16 24. So I went ahead and I bought 4 more sets of chasers in the common sizes that a man would use regularly, and they are, well, that's the 5/16 24. There's something else in there, I forgot what it was. There's 5/16 18, half 13, and there's 3/8 16. So I got most of what I need here. And take a look at my video where I visited that shop, entitled Screw Machines. Alright, next item. In a recent video I showed you a Foley bell saw clipper hone that I bought, and I was lamenting the fact that I didn't have a owner's manual for it, and Kerry Gleason sent me the link to find this on the internet, and I printed it out, and since then several others have done the same. And Tim Duthie sent me this wonderful Stewart model catalog, and the one that I had was 10 or 20 years old, and it was all black and white. Well, this is a beauty, and everything's in color, gorgeous color. Of course, a man can't afford these castings to build these, but and there is a cost. That's not a giveaway catalog, and that came to me clear from England. So thank you, Tim. And one other thing here. Somebody sent me this beautifully made plunger for an Atlas lathe quick change gearbox, and I want to talk more about that, but I lost the sheet that told me who it was, so please email me whoever gave that to me so I can discuss it in a later video. Out of the clear blue sky, I got a box from Amazon.com, and it was a gift from Kevin, and I didn't get his last name, but I already thanked him, I think, by way of Amazon. But in there was a wash bottle, and he said these are great for oiling. So I've already put cutting oil in there. You see these in chemistry labs. There's a lot of use for them. I used to have one. I used it for priming my engines. But that's just going to be perfect for lubricating when I use this geometric die head. So thank you, Kevin. Watch for an upcoming video where I demonstrate how to ride a Segway and how it works. At a recent garage sale, I bought 2 Whitney Punches, and I must emphasize that I have to go to over 50 garage sales before I find something. Some of you think that it's real plentiful in Illinois here, and it's still a needle in a haystack, but this is a Whitney number 7 in real nice condition, $5, and this is a Roper Whitney number 7.5, not in good condition. This die is broken off, which means that it's stuck. So I'm stuck with that size. I wish I hadn't bought this one. It of course is longer than the other, but those are some of my latest finds. My friend in Texas by the name of Herb Blair, and he has his own channel on YouTube, so check his videos out. But he sent me several patterns that he made, and he has a 3D printer. And these patterns were made, these are for 4-inch flywheels for my little engines. Now he made several of these. This was the first batch. And I told him that on this one, this isn't going to work as a pattern unless I do a lot of modification on it, because we don't have any fillets in here, and we got some undercuts, and it's a little rough here, so it's not going to draw. And this isn't going to work very well as a pattern because of the very thick hub is going to cause shrinkage, and also in a flywheel we need a thick rim, not a thick hub. So he made several modifications. This one is so much better. Notice the thick rim. And I'm going to have to put alignment pins on there, and then in a later video I'm going to cast some of these. But then he sent me another one that he made, and he says these take about 5 hours to make. And be sure and watch his video. I'll try to find the link for you where he shows how he designed and made this one with the curved spokes. Again, I got just a little touch-up work to do and alignment pins, and that's going to be a pattern. So thank you very much, Herb, and be sure and watch some of Herb's videos. That's Herb Blair. When I was talking about wrenches a few minutes ago, I should have told you about this website, and I forgot who it was that emailed me. Sorry about that, but this is really a neat website, and the link is there at the top. And it's not just about adjustable wrenches, it's about all the different brands and major makes of engines, and it's an extensive website. So check that out if you like old iron and old wrenches and things like that, and it gives the history of them and pictures and so on. It's really great. I received a package from Indiana, and it was from Justin Hulbert, and thank you, Justin. And it's full of plastic and other goodies that I can use. Here's a couple of packages of shrink tubing, and I do like my shrink tubing. But there are various kinds of plastics here. I wish he had marked exactly what that is, but some of it is PVC and other plastics that I'll be able to use in my machining, different thicknesses. I know that the gray stuff is PVC, or I'm quite confident that it is, but this, look at this green stuff. About 1 inch thick. And anyway, all kinds of plastics that I can use when I fabricate things. So thank you, Justin. If you haven't watched my recent video where I unpackaged a beautiful gift from Niagara Cutters, be sure and go back and watch that, but probably already have seen that. And then I got a box here just the other day from Philip Ryan, and that's out of North Carolina. And in that box, the boys, there's also a bunch of goodies, and he used gloves, work gloves. I guess I got to wash them, they're slightly used, but he used that as dunnage, so I can use that also. But in there is, he says, I know you like your Loctite. Well, Phil, you're right, I do like my Loctite, and that's again an anaerobic, and I guess it can be used for threads and other sealing, but I already used it on a test piece here, a 1/4 inch bolt, and so it's not out of date, and it took quite a bit of force to break that thread open. So, and that's a big bottle, you know, that probably cost $50 if a fella had to buy it, and he gave me a nice letter here. But look at some of the things that are in here, and I haven't even gone through all of this yet. But the reason for this package, or why he sent it to me to start with, is that there's an item right here, and I'm not going to show it to you, and that's going to be in one of my What Is It series. But that's really the essence of why he sent this to me. But there are many other goodies in here as well, and a full box, I think there's a dozen here, of paint markers, and I guess he knows I like my paint markers as well. All brand new, fresh, ready to use. Now the rest appears to be end mills, and let's go through some of these, not all of them, but I can tell right now from the weight that that is a carbide, solid tungsten carbide, and looks like it's about a 3/4, and that's a 6 flute. Wow, these are wonderful. All different sizes, and they're carbide. Lifetime supply. Lifetime supply. Some more big ones. 2 flute. I'll open this up here in just a second, off camera. And I'm not going to go through all of these, but there's, of course, some Morse carbide what size? That's half inch, and there must be about 2 dozen of them in here. Wow, thank you, Philip, ever so much. Now let me open the ones in the blue wrapper. Okay, and the blue wrapper are just, I thought they were cutters, but they are 3/4 and it looks like 1 inch steel. They must not be hardened because it's been machined, so there I've got some stock that I can use in my lathe work. And let's take another glance at a few more of these and then I'll call it quits. As far as this is concerned, there's a double end mill, which is a Cleveland brand, Cleveland twist drill, and that appears to be 3/8, so there's several of those in there. Double-ended, wow. Okay, you'll see me using these in later videos. So again, thank you, Phil. Just 1 or 2 more things. Keith Tayan out of St. Louis must have a warm spot for animals because he sent me a can of cat food for the legendary Smokey the cat, the neighbor's cat. So thank you, Keith, for that. Or Smokey thanks you, actually, I think. And the very last thing here is that in a recent video on What Is It, I had this gadget in here, and I'm surprised at how many people seem to know what that is. I was shocked. I thought I really had them stumped on that one because I'd never seen one before. But be sure and watch my What Is It series and my 700 other videos. And this is tubalcain saying thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.